Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is one that's a wee bit different for me, to be perfectly honest with you. It's connected to the response to the Baby Reindeer apparent true story, which has caused all sorts of rumblings across media and the new media, and is now seen the character apparently outed of Martha in real life, and that's caused a lot of issue, particularly since Piers Morgan done quite an extended interview with the woman who claims to be the real life Martha, who is Fiona Harvey. And I believe she's changed her name at some point in her life. So the Daily Record have went with quite an unusual take on this, and it sort of ties into the stuff I do, because the stuff I do tends to be with the SNP, and that's why it came under my radar. So their headline is Baby Reindeer's real life Martha welcomes SNP MP's call for a probe into Netflix stalker lie. Despite Netflix claims the show is a true story, no evidence has been produced to prove Fiona Harvey has a conviction. And I'll give my comments on this as we go along, because Fiona Harvey claims that the movie is based on her, the character of Martha is based on her, but denies every single thing stated as fact in the movie, which I think is a bit bizarre. Because if you say, well, that wasn't me, I never done that, I never done that, I never done that, what are you actually claiming is you? If you claim everything that was depicted in the movie was untrue. Because if you've never done any of this, then how can you claim to be Martha? If the character of Martha bear no relevance to you, it could be someone else, for example. However, Netflix have been asked to substantiate a claim made by parliamentary committee hearing that the real baby reindeer, Martha, is a stalker. Given evidence before the Culture, Media and Sports Committee last week, Netflix executive Benjamin King told John Nicholson MP that the show was obviously a true story of the horrific abuse that the writer and protagonist Richard Gadd suffered at the hands of a convicted stalker. Keyword there, convicted. Okay? The Select Committee Chair Nicholson believes the evidence Netflix gave may have been inaccurate. The SNP MP said it's clear that the evidence given by Netflix to Select Committee is disputed. He added, the charge made of a conviction is very important. Journalists can find no evidence to back up Netflix's claim, knowingly misleading the committee in a contempt of Parliament. Fiona Harvey, 58, was outed as a woman who inspired Scots comedian Richard Gadd's TV series with Netflix billed as a true story. I'm not sure how you can say that, because I don't think Richard Gadd nor Netflix have ever come out and said, yeah, that's her. Seems to be amateur sleuths with a fair understanding of the way around the internet have decided that she's the character. I don't think Gadd nor Netflix have confirmed that. But what they seem to be basing as evidence of it being her is they have found old tweets from her which tie in to things depicted in the movie, which could be coincidence or could be factual. I don't know. You know, is it based on Fiona Harvey or not? Someone has to admit that or deny that. Now, if they admit that Fiona Harvey is the character depicted in the movie and there's inaccuracies, then that could be wrong. That could be, you know, that might need court hearings, etc. But one of the biggest ones is in the movie, she admits to the crime, she pleads guilty in a court of law, and is convicted for 8 or 9 months in the movie. If it is, Martha is Fiona Harvey and the other stuff, you would need to be able to prove it. I mean, there's been a claim that there was 40 odd thousand emails, for example, sent by her to Gadd, which would be quite easy to prove if it was indeed factual. So, you know, that would be a sort of clean black or white thing. But if it is her that's depicted in the movie and she's not went to court, Netflix and potentially Gadd, in my opinion, could be into a lot of bother. So where did we get to? I'm astonished that someone, this is still the Fiona Harvey. I am astonished that someone like that made a comment like that at a select committee hearing. Fair enough, they want to make a lot of money out of this, but this is not the way to do it. This is nonsense. I mean, does anyone sane actually believe Netflix? She added, the political will, is to shut down this nonsense, and I commend John Nicholson in spearheading this. I would invite John Nicholson to call me about this. Soon after the Netflix show was aired, internet sleuths had no difficulty finding Harvey. Some of her social media posts were identical or strikingly similar to those used in the show. She then spoke exclusively to the Daily Record to claim that she was a victim as a result of the broadcast, and that she'd not been to prison as portrayed in the show. See, this is her basically admitting that is her. This is the bit I'm struggling with, but I think it's more probable that it is her than not. But she seems to be saying, yeah, that was me. I done all those mad things, but I didn't go to prison. I also watched the Piers Morgan interview in its entirety just last night, and I'll comment on that once I finish this article. Initially, the Record decided as a duty of care not to identify her, but she later expressed her desire to be identified. Neither Netflix or the show's creator, Scots comedian Richard Gadd, have confirmed she is the real Martha, who is jailed for stalking Gadd and also has a historical prison record. Come back to that as well. Harvey says she has never been convicted of stalking. Mr. Nicholson said, I'll be writing to Netflix to ask them to substantiate the claim they made. Baby Reindeer is a TV phenomenon of the year. I thought it was rotten. It has been watched by 65 million people worldwide. In its opening episode, the show claims this is a true story. Gadd has since talked about the programme telling his emotional truth. So far, no evidence has been produced that she has a conviction. It's been reported that a writ was filed against her more than 20 years ago in a Scottish court by a lawyer who accused her of harassment. Harvey has claimed that did not proceed. That's not denying that the writ wasn't written in the first place. I've had writs served on me for, defamation, which, to be fair, weren't set, didn't go to its conclusion, but I got the paperwork through and tell me I was getting sued for £200,000. It was a bit scary, right? I needed new pants after that. But, she's not denying that it was filed. She's just saying that it didn't proceed. She denied harassment. Apart from the evidence to the committee, Netflix has made no other comment since the controversy erupted. Piers Morgan said, the framing of Martha in the Baby Reindeer as a stalker who goes to prison is a serious failure by Netflix, if it's not true. And the reason I'm saying if it's not true is this woman has been known by at least two names in the past. She was known by one name when she had this first issue with a lawyer about 20 years ago from memory, and as she presents herself today as Harvey. She wasn't Harvey 20 years ago. As nobody's found any evidence whatsoever that she has any criminal record, let alone for anything to do with Richard Gadd. Chris Banat-Vala, former head of standards at Ofcom, told the BBC there's a duty of care whenever you make a programme dealing with potentially vulnerable people. It's an odd choice of word that's suggesting that Fiona is vulnerable, but I kind of agree with him. Whether that's Richard Gadd or Fiona Harvey, and again, yeah, that's a fair comment, because Richard Gadd's had some serious emotional issues as were portrayed in the production. He added, has she been portrayed in a way that is unfair to her? Did she or did she not go to prison? The streaming channel is not governed by Ofcom regulation codes. Banat-Vala added, in traditional broadcasting there's a very good set of rules about fairness, what you can and can't do. Doctor Who writer Richard T. Davis said the BBC editorial compliance process has been much stricter. He said compliance and editorial policy drives us mad here, but I sleep at night. And his evidence to MPs, King said in making the show Netflix had taken every reasonable precaution in disguising the real life identities of the people involved in the story. Isn't that bizarre? Harvey disputed it when she spoke to the record, and subsequently Piers Morgan on YouTube, that has been watched by more than 11 million people. She was offered £250 by the programme, now wants £1 million. She's, wow, she's disputing that. Okay. Morgan told the Lorraine show she's not going to get £1 million from me. No, there's no question about that. He added the show also paid for her to have a very nice, expensive haircut, and we got a very nice car to bring her to and from her home. So I think we treated her extremely reasonably and fairly. Great article. So the whole world's gone mad at it. And I did watch the Piers Morgan interview, and I struggled at times, to be honest with you. My own personal opinion, she came across as somebody that might be prone to an exaggeration now and again. She claims that she's been in a 5-year relationship with her partner, who is a lawyer. And the way she was speaking, she was talking about one point about how much did Piers think this show had made. And she said, yeah, one of my lawyer friends guessed £750, but he's just a little lawyer, and was quite derogatory about people when she was talking about them and describing them. And I thought it was quite unpleasant, to be honest with you. Has the woman got any psychological issues? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But what I will say is I wouldn't be surprised if she has. She certainly came across a bit strange in some of the questioning. And if you've not watched the Piers Morgan interview in its entirety, because there's a lot of clips out there of it, I think the whole thing's about a 50 to 55 minute piece. It is worth watching. It's quite insightful. It's quite deep. It's worth a watch. But I'm just not convinced. I just thought, I don't know if you're telling me the truth here. And that's not me making any claims about the woman as a liar or not a liar. I'm just telling you how I felt when I was watching it. There was just certain things. And then, she did say at one point, and I've seen Piers Morgan mention it since then in another piece that he done with a whole host of guests talking about the interview, talking about the actual scenario. And he pointed out that, and I think he also was on Lorraine Kelly talking about this, where she was denying the 40,000 email claim and all this sort of stuff. And she said, well, even if I did send 41,000 emails, that doesn't mean I went to court. That doesn't mean I was done. And I thought, whoa, you're now starting to backpedal. And Piers Morgan picked up on that as well, because he's since spoke about it. And I just found the whole thing a bit bizarre. Also, the Gadd character, he said some serious, I mean, if his portrayal of himself is true, right, we're now going to suggest that possibly the portrayal is not total non-fiction, then we have to accept that if it is a non-fiction true story, he went through some horrific things in his life. And he would be, I would imagine, psychologically scarred after what he went through. If we revert back to the piece being a true life drama. So, is his recollection of all these things 100% accurate? I don't know. The whole thing's just bonkers. I think this whole thing after the programme is as bonkers as the programme itself. I thought the programme, it was too many things for me. It was trying to do tick too many boxes for me to actually sit back and enjoy it. I was maybe expecting a sort of popcorn thing with a bit of laugh. It certainly isn't. There is laughs in it, there's comedy in it, there's some very, very deep, powerful subject matter in it. And I just don't think, if I was, during the week, when I sit and I watched a lot of documentaries, I like documentaries and real life stuff, and I was expecting that, and that was to come up on my viewing. In those instances, I would have been expecting something different. I wasn't. I sat down at a weekend to go, let's get some serious viewing time of this and get it out the road. And it was just, boom, chaos. Right. And if that's that guy's life, then he's going to be scared as well. So there we go. Intriguing story. Just thought I'd touch on it just because it's not my normal topics, but there was an element of SNP in it. So that's how it came on my radar. That's why I've spoke about it. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you've not enjoyed it, fair play to you. You got this far, I'd be surprised if you didn't. But most important thing of all, everybody out there, have a great day. Cheery bye now.